Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody is having a wonderful day today. Sorry, my dogs just started barking. So, basically, I'm going to do an update on Zeta Darlene Gordon's case. Muddy Waters has been working on her case for a little bit now. I believe it was one of the very first cases that somebody had basically reached out to us asking us to look into it. So for the last 6-8 months, I have personally have been looking into her case. And as the group has basically been talking about possible scenarios and stuff that could have possibly happened to her. So basically, we're gonna go over her case a little bit before we go into what has happened today with phone calls that were made. So on the Doe Network, Zeta Darlene Gordon's case number is 651. D is in dog, F is in Frank, K is in Kansas, S is in Sam. Her case classification is endangered / missing. She went missing on October 4th of 1992 from Atchison, Kansas, and the county is Atchison County. Zeta's birthday, 1948. She was 43 years old when she went missing. Her race is white. She is a female. Her height was 5'4". Her weight was 105 to 115 pounds. She had brown short hair. She has blue eyes. She does have a nickname or an alias, and that is Nee, N-E-E, Wilson. Distinguishing marks or features. She has pierced ears, and she wears contacts. According to the Doe Network, she evidently does not have any dental records on file, which personally, my own 2 cents on that is I find that hard to believe since her husband was a dentist. I find that kind of hard to believe. Fingerprints, unknown. DNA, unknown. Clothing and personal items, we have unknown on everything, according to the Doe Network. So this is basically the timeline, what was reported to the police. Zeta was last seen around 2 a.m. on October 4th, 1991, following an argument with her husband of 23 years. According to Zeta's daughter, Zeta said she needed to drive around a while to cool off, and there were things that she wanted to clear up. Initially, family members believed she would return on her own. According to her husband, the family decided to search for Zeta in the southwest area of Atchison due to reports from people seeing her car in the area and numerous comments Zeta had made to friends and family in the weeks preceding her disappearance. On the afternoon of October 5th, 2 of Zeta's children found her white Chrysler LeBaron convertible in a lot near an abandoned farmhouse west of Atchison. The keys were in the ignition, the black convertible top was down, and the engine, fan, and radio were on. Zeta's purse and a packed suitcase were inside. Zeta's children did not believe the car had been there for a long time. After searching the area for around 45 minutes, they drove the car home. She was reported missing to the police that evening. In 1994, Zeta's husband filed for divorce. He remarried in 1997, and in 1998, he committed suicide. A note was not left, and the motive is unknown. According to investigators, Zeta's disappearance is considered suspicious and foul play is suspected. Furthermore, her former husband was never ruled out as a suspect. So, the investigative agencies are the Atchison Police Department. The NCIC case number for her case is M-5955-70401. So we move on to another document that basically comes from the Charlie Project website. And for the most part, the information is somewhat the same, but just a little bit different. So Zeta and her husband at the time when she went missing, they had 3 children between the ages of 9 and 23. One of them witnessed her leaving the house that night. Down here, there's a little bit that talks about her husband, Wayne. Wayne, a dentist and the son of a former Kansas senator, divorced Zeta in January of 1994 and remarried in 1997. He committed suicide in January 1998 at the age of 48 by hanging himself at a Boy Scout camp where he had often volunteered. He left no note and no indication as to this motive. Police did not call him a suspect in Zeta's disappearance, but many rumors about the possible involvement circulated in the local community, and he was considered a person of interest in her case. So basically, with 2 different websites, there is basically a little bit of confusion, I guess you could say, because one kind of says he was a suspect and one says he kind of wasn't, but he was considered. So, Zeta was studying interior design at the time of her disappearance. Authorities believe she was the victim of a homicide, as it would be uncharacteristic of her to abandon her children and her elderly mother. And of course, her case does remain unsolved. So, I'm going to read you the best that I can because it's very small print. I'm going to read you an article from the Bellevue Telescope out of Bellevue, Kansas, from February 5th of 1998. Former Bellevue dental surgeon apparently hangs himself at Atchison. Former Bellevue dentist Dr. Wayne Gordon, 48, was found dead Tuesday, January 27th, hanging from a rope in a tree at a Boy Scout camp in South Atchison, where he had spent many hours as a volunteer. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation ruled Gordon's death a suicide based on the findings in the forensic pathologist Dr. Eric Mitchell from Topeka. Gordon was reported missing to the Atchison Police Department around noon Monday by a family member and was found at the Camp Kansas camp Tuesday around 11 a.m. by law enforcement personnel. Before he disappeared Monday at noon, Gordon asked a family member to call his office and tell them he wouldn't be in that afternoon. Authorities said that they have found no note or explanation for why Gordon took his own life. Gordon practiced in Bellevue in the late 70s and early 80s. He had practiced dental surgery in Atchison since 1983. Wife disappearance. The Gordons made headlines 6 years ago when 44-year-old Zeta Gordon, mother of the couple's 3 children, disappeared on October 4th, 1992. Zeta Gordon has never been found. Her son and daughter discovered her white convertible abandoned at a farmstead west of Atchison a day after her disappearance, with the top down, keys in the ignition, and the radio on. Her suitcase and purse were in the car. Although there are reports of Zeta Gordon being sighted after she disappeared, officials said that they have ruled her disappearance as a possible homicide and that the investigation is still going on. We suspect foul play in Zeta Gordon's disappearance. Sergeant Bill Delaney of the Kansas Bureau of Investigation is quoted saying by the Atchison Daily Globe, "Nobody has been eliminated as a suspect, including Dr. Gordon. You just don't fall off the face of the earth without some leads." Dr. Gordon had remarried 6 months ago to, and this is a little hard to read because when I printed this off, it's from an old newspaper article. So please bear with me. Dr. Gordon has remarried about 6 months ago to Pamela Barnett Clearwater. The couple lived in Atchison with Gordon's youngest son, I'm not going to name the son, and daughter. The Gordon's oldest son lives in Manhattan and daughter lives in Atchison. Gordon had 2 grandchildren. Also surviving are his parents, former Senator Francis and Virginia Gordon Highland, a sister, and I will not read those names. Gordon was remembered in Atchison as a prominent dental surgeon and was active in many community organizations, including being as an Eagle Scout and a member of the executive board of the Pony Express Council, Boy Scouts of America. Complete obituary can be found elsewhere in this edition of the Telescope. So basically, by me reading that, you kind of get the gist of where Muddy Waters was trying to get access. I reached out to the Pony Express Boy Scouts of America group yesterday. I explained the situation, and I, basically said that, who I was with, and we do open source investigation work. And we had been talking about this case, and we believe that there's a possibility that she could be on this piece of property, unfortunately. Of course, the lady I was talking to on the phone knew nothing of either people's names, and basically the lady was shocked. She said she would have to call me back, that she was going to go talk to the head of their scout division and get the information, and she would call me back. I had explained to her that there was somebody on their board that I had spoke with last fall, and I had discussed it, and then they were going to supposedly reach back out to me, and they never did. So about an hour later, the lady did call me back, and she was able to provide me with the person who is the groundskeeper maintenance person of the place that was mentioned in the article. Today, I reached out to that person, and I did speak with them. And I basically, once again, I explained who I was and who I was with and why I was calling and the reason why I was calling and what the group as Muddy Waters believed where Zeta could possibly be. And due to uh, her ex-husband, her husband, ex-husband, because he did divorce her, possibly, what could have transpired, and that possibly she could be located at this location. The person basically told me that the owners of the property want nothing to do with this situation, that they had a bad taste in their mouth, and that the Kansas Bureau of Investigations, KBI, did investigate the property when her husband evidently committed suicide, that they evidently had looked into the property for her. I do not know if, because I didn't, basically the conversation went south in a hurry, unfortunately, and the guy was a very nice, sorry, we just lost that. The guy was a gentleman. He was very nice, but I could tell that he made it very clear that the owners were not going to allow us access to the property to do any searches, unfortunately. I thanked him for his time, and hopefully he will talk with the owners, and maybe they will reach back out to us. But at this time, access has been denied to that property for us to do any type of search, in regards to Zeta. We actually do have another location of interest that, through Dan working on stuff, our team member Dan has came up with another location. So we will be digging into that location. And at this point, honestly, if we are granted permission someday to visit this property, it is 100% a GPR situation. It will be a grid work. It will be property outlined with a grid work, and it will be detailed, grid work with the GPR unit. If we could possibly acquire the location of where Mr. Gordon had unfortunately committed suicide and hung himself, that's a place to start. And by all means, we are not saying that he had something to do with this. We are just looking at the information that's publicly posted, and we are talking as a group, and the combined interest and thoughts of the group is if he did have something to do with her disappearance, that possibly she is there because he had access to this place that I had mentioned, and that he had access to it. All the places in the world that when he wanted to end his life, unfortunately, he went to this place. And I'm not 100% sure, but I believe somewhere in these documents, through all these articles and stuff, that possibly when he filed for divorce in 1994 in January, it was the same day that he committed suicide in January 27th of 1998. So unfortunately, like I said, we're not saying he did it. We're just saying through the information that's readily available, on social media and talking as a group, we have come to the conclusion that this possibly could be, this is our number one place of interest. And as of yesterday, we now have a second place of interest. So this is a very sad story. Um, they had 3 children. Um, and I'm a child. Both my parents are gone. My mother died in 1991 when I was a senior in high school, and my dad died in August of 2013. Um, it doesn't matter how old you are, you still feel a loss when your parents are gone. When my mom died, we had my dad. And then when my dad died, even though I was an adult, um, I had a wonderful person in my life and her children. And there's times when you still feel alone because your parents are gone. So I do have a spot in my heart for their children. So we're not going to give up. Um, we're going to look into this second location, and we'll clue you all in when we get some more information and stuff. So, but as of today, the main location of interest at this point has been denied to us. So, um, so I will definitely keep you up to date. Muddy Waters, the group will keep you up to date as we work on stuff. Um, and as always, please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope everyone is doing good. We appreciate everybody, being here with us today. Sunday, any of our videos, we greatly appreciate it. You can always reach out to us at mwsar22@yahoo.com. And if you ever have any information on someone that's missing, please reach out to the proper authorities. You can always reach out to us at Muddy Waters through any of our social media outlets. Our contact information is on all of our stuff. It's very easy to find. Um, so, but thank you as always. This was a quick update, and we will talk to y'all later. Thank you. Bye-bye.